It was the first year of the reign of Aikulola, the king of Irefo land. The king of Irefo land is a wicked and terrible king. When he was installed as king, he sacked all his chiefs. This has never happened before in the history of the land. He told himself that the chiefs are all corrupt because he knows how he bribed his way into the kingship. The king of Irefo land is so interested in power. He is heartless and terrible. He has only one child, and for whatever reasons, his 3 wives could not bear more children for him. So this condition has made him become more wicked and has turned many of the villagers' children to become his slave and workers in his farmland. One day, Adigun sent his son Remilekun to go and work in their farmland. Adigun did not realize that that day is the day that the king cats will go around the villagers' farm to gather more men and even boys to work in the king's farm. Adigun has sent Remilekun to the farm since 6 a.m. in the morning. Until 6 p.m. in the evening, he has not returned back. So, Adigun and his wife became afraid and ran to the farm to check what is going on. They did not find Remilekun and many of his friends because usually when Adigun sent Remilekun to the farm, Adigun will call on his 2 friends that they will work together on the farmland. So, they did not see any of them in the farm that day. Remilekun's mother rushed to his friend's house. She didn't find anyone at home, but one of the neighbors told her that they have gone to the palace. So she ran with her husband to the palace to find out what happened. On their way to the palace, they realized they are in serious trouble because no one in that land would want to have anything to do with the king or even his palace. When they got there, they found Kunle and Ajayi's parents. Kunle, Ajayi and Remilekun have been stripped of their clothes and they are naked, waiting for the king. And they are unable to gain access to the king. But the guard tried to send them away. But their parents said they will not leave without their children. I have told you there is nothing you want to discuss with the king. You all know the final answer to all of this. Once your children are found in the farm, the next thing is they become the king's farmers. So, why are you still waiting here, wasting your time? Please release our children to us, Remilekun mother shouted. Your children? They are not your children, they are the king's property and he will do whatever he likes with them. So please, mothers, go back to your house. Very soon, your children will be given their hoes and cutlass and the portion of the land that they will till and farm for the king. So, there is no controversy about that. When it was dark, the guard forcefully sent the parents away. Go to your house. Your stubbornness won't change anything at all. Just go. So they were left with no choice. It was getting dark already in the night and the mothers have to go back home. But Remilekun's mother refused to go. She cried the more, please don't do this to my son, please. My son is not used to this kind of thing, please. What do you mean, madam? He will learn it. Is he not a boy? Please, 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 just go away from here. Just give me a chance. Give me a chance. Remilekun's mother continued. Can I just speak to the king, please? Even if it's 1 minute. No, madam. You cannot see the king at all. You does not have your time. See, your children will remain here until further notice. Just go away. Well, let me tell you this for free. For the next 3 days, your children will not be fed. They will not eat. And that's a tradition. After 3 days, they will start eating whatever we give them in the palace. So, you cannot change anything. If you cry from now till tomorrow, it will not hold water. Madam, just go to your house. Remilekun's mother refused to go. She kept crying and shouting that her son be released to her. At a point, she held on to the gas clothes, but he pushed her away. Please, madam, leave my clothes. Your son will rot here. So, one way or the other, Remilekun slept in the palace. She just hooked somewhere. Nobody discovered that she was still around. This event is actually not new to any of the parents, but to Remilekun's mother, it is so strange to her. She has never lived without her son or any of her children before. So she slept in the palace. In the midnight, there was a cry from the inner courtroom in the palace. Somebody help me, oh, my son, my son, my son. Somebody please help me. It was the queen that screamed, and everyone rushed out from their various rooms. My son, prince, prince, somebody please help me. Remilekun's mommy, who is sleeping at the entrance of the palace, could also hear the shout. Her mind was troubled at first, but when she heard that prince, then she calmed down a little and pretended to be sleeping. So in the palace throughout the night, there was crying and wailing. And that day, the prince has just passed. There was no remedy, and no child left for the king. Early in the morning, the news got to the entire village. Many didn't feel sorry for the king, and at the same time, some feel sorry for him. But different thoughts came through the minds of people, and many went to the palace to mourn with the king. It became more difficult for Remilekun's mother to even talk about her son. No one is thinking about any slaves at that moment, so she had to go home. She went home though, but her fear became stronger. She didn't know what the king would do to her son or to even her. So, for the period of 8 days, there was no activity in the land. Everyone was mourning the king's son. That's the prince, the only child of the king. So, Remilekun's mother could not go near the farm or go near the palace. There was no business, no market was opened for the period of 8 days. And the king didn't say a word to anybody. And everyone was terrified. Everyone kept running around. Different side talks and gossip here and there. And fear filled the faces of the people. So after 8 days, the king called to address the villagers. He appreciated them all along. And then he told them what his new decrees will be. So he said, all your sons must resume here in my palace every morning, and also do whatever work my guards will ask them to do. Ah, so many shouted. He said, all your daughters must come to my palace every weekend to help my queens. So, do you have any objection to this? Sir, one of the villagers said. People rushed to hold his hand down. Don't say anything, don't say anything. They cautioned him to keep quiet. Hey, your opinion does not count here, or anyone's opinion. Just keep quiet here. For the sake of your family and yourself, keep quiet. But he refused. The king said, okay, you can go ahead, say whatever you have to say. He continued, sir, I understand. I even understand what you are going through, sir. And I understand the fact that our female children can come on weekends to help your queens. But I think you should reconsider on the side of the male children. You ask them to always come to the farm every day. Sir, I think this is not right. Because these children have started going to school. You know about the primary school that they just started in our village. And we have encouraged them enough to start this school. Please, if you now allow them to throw all of this away because of your own selfish reason, my king, this is too much, sir. Consider these children, consider us, consider their future. Please, sir, this is my plead. The king looks at him angrily. So you have the audacity to challenge my authority. I promised myself that I won't get angry today. But you changed my mind for me. Or I should say you are rather unfortunate. Well, no problem. It's been a while that I disciplined someone in this land. Now everyone became fearful. And people started panicking. Well, in the spirit of reconsideration, like you said, you will have to join the male children to resume in my palace every day. Ah, everyone shouted. Don't say her. Just indicate if you want to be part of this reconsideration. Now, everyone became silent again. It was so quiet that even you can hear the drop of a pin. Almost half of the villagers were turned to slaves. in their own father's land. This is so disheartening. This is the conversation Remilekun and his friends were having while taking a rest after a long walk on the farm. One of the guards heard them and went to report to the king. The king became angry and ordered that they should be beheaded. The king in his words said, "I think I should grow in my leadership skills. Come to think of it, I have eaten the meat of different kinds of animal, but I have not tasted human meat. I think I should take it to a next level." The king was having this conversation with that guard. So he said, "That boy and his friends that were gisting about me, I need to eat their meat. At least just give me one finger, let me have a taste of it. It will be unfair that I get back to my to heaven and then it will be heard that I've never tasted human meat before, as great as I am. Please do that as soon as possible." Remilekun and his friend shouted, Sir, we are sorry, sir. We are sorry, we won't do that again. We are sorry, please, sir, forgive us, sir." So the king said, "Well, I forgive you, but I hope the next time you will not try this." Yes, sir, thank you, sir." So they left and they went back to continue their work. Another day, the king guard came to tell the king about some of the farm tools that were destroyed by the slaves. So the king said, "There is no problem. Whosoever that spoil my equipment in this land will not be fed for 3 days." Well, to the farmers, it was not new to them. And there was really no difference because most time they only eat once in a day, despite the rigorous work that they do for the king. Remilekun's friends fell victim of this, and many times when Remilekun is having his dinner, he will give part of the food to his friends. This continued for the rest of the 3 days. So one day, the king called one of the guards, the most senior of them, and asked him, "Please, this thought keeps coming to my mind and I think I should implement it. As big as I am, is there any meat? Can you think of any meat that I've not eaten before?" The king guard said, "No, sir. You have virtually eaten all the meat that we could reach in this land and even beyond this land." So he said, "Okay. And don't you think I need to taste human flesh?" "Your Majesty, whatever you desire is what we'll get for you. You are the king. You are the ruler of all, even the animals or human being." Okay. I love that your encouragement. That's good. So, how do you think I should go about this? Or should I start with you?" "Sir, no. He quickly bowed his head. And the king said, "Okay, so from tomorrow, be on the lookout. Any slave that disobeys your order or spoil anything in the farmland or even steal, bring him to me. Let me start from there." So the next day, Remilekun and his friends were working in the farmland and his mother came around. She never left her son at all, so she comes checking every time. She brings food and sometimes clothes for change. So she was at the entrance and has not been allowed to enter into the palace courtyard. While she was waiting to see her son, she saw the guards drag Remilekun towards the king's seat. That's my son. What happened? There was no response from anyone. Remilekun was heard shouting, "Please, I am sorry. It's not my fault. The cutlass was weak already. It was weak and I've been complaining to the guard. I've been telling him to change it for me." "Well, I don't care about that though. Whatever excuse you give does not matter. See, you'll be the first mate for our king today." So Remilekun keeps shouting, "Please leave my son, free him. Please leave my son." Then the king heard her voice and said, "Who is that woman shouting? Bring her in." She was afraid first, but at the same time happy that finally she'll get to see the king and say her mind. So the guard explained what Remilekun has done to the king. And the king said, okay, no problem. Tonight, we'll do justice to him. And in case his meat is not sweet, like I imagine, I can move on to the next person. Ah, Remilekun cried. Please forgive me, sir. Your Highness, please have mercy upon me. Please, I beg you. And Remilekun joined in the cry and said, my lord, please, please, please. And she started praying and saying all sorts of things in praise of the king. But the king turned his face away until the guard brought his sword, waiting for the king's order. The king said, well, why wait till evening? His mother is here, so she can just witness this that is about to happen. Yes, I want his fingers first. So the guard said, no problem, sir. And immediately, he wanted to cut Remilekun's finger. The mother shouted, stop, stop. He is also a prince of the land. Woman, what do you mean? Everybody was in shock. Who is a prince of the land? How can that be? Your Majesty, my son is your blood, sir. Madam, are you sick or something? The king said, how? How is that possible? When I got married to my husband, for the period of 8 years, we didn't have children. And I was just waiting until one day you came to our house with your gangs to collect many of our properties, and including all our harvest from the farmland. You took all that we had then. And then when you were on your way out, you sighted me and grabbed me. And then you raped me, sir. What's this woman saying? And you left. I could not forget that night, sir. Then after 2 months, I discovered I was pregnant. My husband and I accepted it and kept it secret. And we just decided to take care of the child. This is the child, Remilekun. And after I had Remilekun, I had more children. And please, King, I am not lying. I am not lying. He is your son. So the king was in shock. And for the first time in his entire life, he became sober. He's my son? Well, this is serious. Even the guards and everybody stood aloof. Okay, the king said, is your husband in the village now? She said, yes. Okay. So the king instructed one of the guard, go and get me Remilekun's father. So Remilekun's father came and the king confirmed from him. So, are you actually telling me that this boy here is my son? Yes, he's your son. Remilekun was not pleased, but there was nothing he could do. And even his parents were helpless. They have always known that a day like this will come. So the king said, I am happy today, and I am so happy. I have a son, a good one at that, to replace me. At a point in Remilekun's life, his mother has explained the story to him before, but she never told him who the man was. The king was very happy that day. He said to himself, I think I should live a better life now. Now that I am sure that I have a son that will inherit everything I have done. Okay, that's good. Then he called one of the guards and said, see, to mark this day, release all the female slaves back to their parents, and half of the male slaves back to their family, and then with time I will know what to do with the rest. And again, find a change of clothes for my son, feed him very well, and everyone should come around to welcome my son back home. So somehow they were happy for the first time in that palace. Remilekun's mother was not so pleased to release his son. She was not so happy because in her mind she felt, what if the wickedness of this man resurfaced again? What will happen to my son? What will happen to my family? Remilekun also did not want to stay in the palace, but he had no choice. So the king announced to the entire land that he has a son to replace him. And then one way or the other, he became very calm. Somehow, Remilekun became one of his chief because he has turned him to his advisor. Everything that he wants to do, he always seeks for Remilekun's counsel. The Bible says, whoever that digs a pit will fall into it, and he who rolls a stone will roll it on himself. In the book of Proverbs 26, verse 27. So, repent from your evil heart before you kill your own self. Repent from whatever evil you are doing before it turns back at you. Somehow, the king was lucky, but your case may not be like his. Thank you for listening and watching my channel. Please like, share and subscribe. This is African Story by Temi. Thank you.